Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Coach Hayes, back inside the 8th Street Gym, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Fast Friday, powered by Once Upon a Coconut. Now, when it comes to developing explosiveness for athletes inside the weight room, it's kind of hard not to talk about Olympic lifts. And three of the most common Olympic style lifts that you'll see across many strength and conditioning programs are going to be the clean, the push press, and the snatch. And there's a reason coaches have been using these exercises for decades. They produce results. Bottom line, they give us a unique combination of strength, speed, coordination, timing, and technique. They're true total body, unbridled movements. From our toes to our fingertips, everything in our body has got to be working in unison. Everything's got to be coordinated. Everything's got to be on the same page and on point. We got to push through the ground. We got to extend through the ankles, knees, and hips. And we got to be violent in our finish. But just as much as it teaches us how to accelerate with the lift, it also teaches us how to decelerate and absorb force. Let's take the power clean. Just as we get that bar above our hips, we got to quickly flip the script and receive that weight in that catch position. We got to rapidly decel and absorb that weight. And then for push press and snatch, we got to stabilize that weight over our heads in that strong, steady position. The ability to go from rapidly producing force to rapidly absorbing it. That acceleration to deceleration. That's what makes these exercises so great, because sports aren't always clean, smooth, tempo-controlled, perfect reps. They're fast, they're sudden, just like these lifts. As athletes, we gotta produce force, redirect it, absorb it, and we gotta do it all within a split second. And that's why these Olympic-style lifts have stood the test of time. But here's the problem. Those Olympic lifts, they're not the easiest exercises to learn or teach. And they may not be the best fit for every athlete. They're highly technical, they take a long time to learn, and that Olympic barbell, it doesn't give us a whole lot of freedom. See, that bar, it's steel, it isn't malleable. It doesn't allow for our hands and wrists to move freely. That means when I violently extend and pull and yank on that bar, especially when the weight gets heavy, a lot of that torque, it's being directed in our elbows, wrists, and shoulders. See, muscle soreness is one thing. That's to be expected when we're hanging and banging with the iron. But joint pain, that's something completely different. And those aches and pains in those joints over time, they can affect how we train, how we practice, and ultimately how we perform on the playing field. And the hand positioning, that's just one limitation. See, traditional Olympic lifts, they're performed in a vertical line. But how often do we play in a vertical line out in sports? Very rarely. See, in sports, we're constantly asked to produce force in all types of angles. We're not playing the game in a phone booth straight up and down. We gotta sprint forward, we gotta cut laterally, and we gotta jump diagonally. We strike, block, and attack opponents up and out in front of us. So, Coach Hayes, what are you saying? We gotta abandon the Olympic lifts? No, pump the brakes. What I'm saying is, let's keep all the good stuff we can get from the Olympic lifts. Let's keep the speed, the power, the violent triple extension, the total body coordination and timing, the ability to rapidly produce force, then absorb it. Let's keep all that good stuff, but find different ways on how to get there. We're talking about ways that give our hands and joints a little more freedom. They're not jacked up all the time. We're talking about ways that may be quicker and easier to teach and learn. And we're talking about ways that allow us to produce force in some different directions, not just straight up and down. In today's episode, we're gonna give you 3 alternative exercises to the time-tested Olympic lifts. We're talking clean, push press, and the snatch, 8th Street Gym style, in this episode of Fast Friday. And we're gonna break it all down for you right here, right now. So let's go. Hey, before we get into today's drills, I want to give a huge shout out to Once Upon a Coconut for powering this series and for hooking us up here in the 8th Street Gym. I know today there's a ton of sports drinks out there and it can get a little overwhelming, but Coconut water has always been nature's very own sports drink. Once Upon a Coconut has figured out a way to put that into a can, and they absolutely nailed it. The flavors are all incredible. It's refreshing. I use it pre-workout, during my intra-workout, and even during my post-workout shake with my personal favorite, the chocolate version. Mix that with a little vanilla protein. I'm telling you, if you don't know, you better find out. It is awesome. If you're looking for a better way to stay hydrated, definitely check these guys out. Appreciate the love. First up, we got the Clean. And my alternative here is the Swivel-Handle Power Clean from the Landmine. I got this Landmine attachment called the OptiBar, but any bar that has that swivel handle is gonna work here. One of the things I love about using the swivel handle is that now my hands are no longer locked onto a straight bar. These handles can rotate and move with me throughout the entire exercise. Instead of my hands being forced to stay in one fixed position while I violently extend and pull and yank on that bar, the swivel handles allow my wrists and arms to naturally adjust throughout the movement. That gives my wrists, elbows, and shoulders a little more freedom while still allowing me to aggressively push through the ground, extend through the hips, and move that weight with speed. But here's another layer to this exercise that makes it a little bit more interesting. Because we're performing it on a Landmine setup, we're not just moving this weight straight up and down anymore. We're also adding that horizontal component to the lift. As I drive through the ground and extend, I can shoot my hips slightly forward and inward towards the Landmine slot, almost meeting the implement instead of simply pulling it straight up. We're not only producing that force vertically, now we have a little horizontal component to that force. And after we accelerate that weight, we still have to receive it, decelerate, and control with that nice, strong, proud catch to finish the rep. We're keeping the qualities we want, but now we're using an implement that gives the athlete more freedom to move in a different direction of force to work with. Next up, we got the push press. And there are two different ways that I love performing this exercise. The first is with a Landmine and that Viking handle neutral grip attachment. The second is with jammer arms, pushing the handles up and away from the rack. With both variations, I'm still pushing through the ground, transferring force into that upper body. Most importantly, I'm still trying to move that weight violently and quickly. But now we've changed both the position of the hands and the angle of the press. The neutral grip allows my hands to face one another. That's going to give my wrists, elbows, and shoulders a much more natural position to press from. Imagine you're out on the playing field. Are you gonna press your hands in that pronated position, or are you gonna press somebody in that more neutral grip position? Check the angle of the press we got going on. Whether I'm using a Landmine or the jammer arms, I'm no longer pressing that weight completely straight up and directly over the top of my shoulders. The weight is out in front of me, and I'm driving it upward and outward at a diagonal angle. When it comes to pressing, that overhead position, well, it's our least mechanically advantageous position. But when the implement is positioned slightly out in front of me, I got a much better chance of keeping my core tight, keeping my rib cage down, and staying strong through the entire movement. And when we're talking about a highly coordinated technical movement, man, making the pressing angle a little bit easier can be a big advantage for us. We can focus on moving that weight as violently as possible. That's what we're getting here. Same explosive intent, a more natural grip, a more forgiving angle, and a direction of force that's gonna carry over extremely well to sports. And the last one is the snatch. And here we're going with the jammer arm snatch. Again, think about what we're really trying to get from the Olympic snatch. Well, we want to create a violent extension through the ankles, knees, and hips, and we want to transfer that force all the way through the upper body. Drive through the ground, shoot the hips through, extend violently, and finish the movement with speed. The jammer arms allow us to train with that same explosive pattern without having to deal with all the technical demands and risks that come with pulling and catching a free barbell overhead. The arms remain attached to the rack, they travel through a controlled path, and I'm not responsible for balancing the weight directly over my head. Because the implement is supported and positioned out in front of me, the exercise is going to be easier to learn and easier to perform. And again, when we're talking about a technical lift, finding a slightly easier and more forgiving variation can benefit us. We're still pushing through the ground, we're still extending through the ankles, knees, and hips, and we're still transferring force through the entire body. But now we're doing it with a less technical demand, a more forgiving bar path, and much less risk involved. So there you have it. 3 alternative exercises for 3 of the most time-tested and proven Olympic lifts. Now, I'm not telling you that these exercises are better than the traditional barbell Olympic lifts. But if these Olympic lifts don't feel great on your joints, or you don't have the time it takes to master these lifts, what I'm saying is you don't necessarily have to give up on these Olympic lifts. These 3 alternative variations, they allow us to still train for speed, power, and that total body coordination, but they just allow us to do it with a little more freedom and a little less wear and tear on our joints. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and stay tuned to the 8th Street Gym YouTube channel because there's more where that came from. We got Fast Friday Olympic style lifts with an 8th Street Gym twist. Are you kidding me? Come on, man, come on.
Grind, not the easy road. 8th Street pride, that's the mother lode.